Welcome back to Working in Saudi 101 for Dummies. This is our 11th video. There's so much material, we'll be making many videos. Now again, at the start of each video, what I will do again is show you this email, kabsa@gmail.com, where any of you who want specifics on Richard's case can tell me. In relation to Richard's case, today we had a typical bounce back. He was at the British, there's one person in the British Council, or the British Embassy in Riyadh, who makes some contact with him. That person phoned the public prosecutor to try to get some information, gave it to Richard. He then was told to go to the police station somewhere in Dammam. Of course, it would have been Kabsa frenzy. It was early in the morning. So he got there. He went with an Arabic speaker, always told him to do that. Well, there was no response in relation between the prosecutor and the police. But sure, this has happened at least 6, 7, 8 times over the period that he's been in Saudi Arabia. Now, so it just goes on and on. But the British Embassy can't visit him. Maybe they're too worried about, the Saudi prince, that they and the Americans and the EU are spending $2 million to get out of the same as Richard is in open house arrest. But hey, Richard doesn't matter. But anyway, enough about that. I'll get back to what to do in Saudi Arabia in your free time. Now we'll talk about the beach. Okay, first of all, on the west coast, which you'll have places like Yanbu and Jazan. There are, especially in Jazan, and there's islands off Jazan, where expats often go in groups to the beach. You can imagine Saudi being a conservative country, which is understandable. Men swimming is allowed in shorts, fair enough, and women have to cover up their arms and legs, and you need quite a conservative bathing costume. And then other beach areas. And there are a few, I've never been to them, a few resorts, I'm told, on the west coast to go to. Over to the east coast, the area that was often seen as quite relaxed was the Al-Khobar, which is a sort of a twin city of Dammam. And it's quite rocky, and I've never seen people swimming there, but people fish there. A lot of expats, especially Filipinos, I saw fishing there over the years. And there's some pleasant parks in the Al-Khobar area where you see a lot of expats. Not many Asian, not many European, tend to be Arab families, locals, but a lot of expats that when it's not too hot, have a very nice afternoon by spreading down a blanket, having food. Some have a shisha, and I've been to them, but actually I've been to a park in Riyadh with very good Arabic friends of mine, expat. But I've never been to where there was a beach. But that is enjoyable, and you do find Western expats that do go to these. There's also a place I went to once called Half Moon Bay, which is near the causeway over to Bahrain, and that was a pleasant afternoon that we had in some complex. But it's, you don't go to Saudi to go to the beach. You don't really go to Saudi to take holidays. But those are interesting things. I mean, what I'm saying is, if you're on the coast and there is a park near the coast and it's not too hot, well, that's a place to go in the evening. And a pleasant stroll, coffee shops, some decent fast food and sort of non-fast food restaurants, and a pleasant enough way to be. Many times spent. And for those that like walking, you can walk on what's called the Corniche for a few miles, if I remember, in the Al-Khobar region. So, sitting down there, getting takeaways, bringing food, is a pleasant way to spend in the cooler months, which would be probably 5 or 6 months a year. I'm trying to think of the cooler months. Probably we're talking November, December, January, February, March, maybe April. So you'll get 5 months. After that, it's Saudi sauna-rama, it's sauna time. But it's interesting, your safety is there. One thing about Saudi is you're very safe, except from the drivers, of course, 99% indigenous. But you're safe there, your kids are safe, not because the police are there, but the society is such that, people, if you put down something, a laptop or something else, and you just go away for 5 or 10 minutes, it's not going to be nicked. So that's a positive. And that's it. Occasionally there's harassment of women, but that's usually from young single guys, nationals usually, but that's to be found in any country on a beach, And there was once an incident that I saw. So that's it for video 11. And the third video on what to do in your free time in Saudi Arabia. But remember, we're working here to free Richard Hicks, and at this stage, 3 people, I mentioned their names in the videos the other day, have got information from me on Richard in detail to send to their MPs. One in Devon, one in Cardiff, and one in London. So thank you very much for your support to Richard. And again, if you want more specifics, it's kabsa.anzi@gmail.com. Thank you until next time. Bye-bye. Ma salama.